John, have you any news from the treatment room apart from that it's busy as usual?
We had no injuries from Wednesday night, which is a positive. So we'll get them on training and try and get them in the best condition they can be for Saturday.
Still looking at double figures in terms of absentees?
I think so, but as I said before, we're not going to worry about injuries. What will be, and you can moan about it, and you can try and get people to feel sorry for you, or you can just get on with the people that you have got and don't be disrespectful for them lads who are coming in. And them lads have come in and been admirable for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. And so that's what's got to be our focus.
What's it like working with so many young players? Is it largely the first time of your career it's been this low as an average?
Yeah, I think this is the lowest we've had in terms of age, average age, but it's great. Honestly, it gives you the spring in your step, gives you a new lease of life. They're so willing to take information in like a sponge, and then when they play, if you speak to Scholesy, our fitness guy, he'll tell you that it's just going really, really well. The output that they're giving it on a match day, which is the important factor, and the running that they're doing, the running stats are really good, even compared to other teams. So that enthusiasm, and we're trying to foster it. And when you get that, you know that they want to play for each other, they want to play for us, they want to play for the club, and they want to progress their careers, which has always been the Accrington model. We've always had to have hungry players who want to go on to better things, and we'll give them the platform. But while we give them the platform, we also get good service out of them, and we get good results out of them, and that's well, I think that should be the Accrington model, and it has been since I've been here.
And these lone players that you've got, John, are you seeing in front of your eyes them actually growing as people as well as physically from playing men's football? Yeah,
of course. And Brad Hills has been sick over the Christmas period, so to get what we get out of him's been great. The other loans are all doing really well. The one that's disappointing is the injury to Josh Andrews, and so that's something that we've got to try and find a way around, and we've got to maybe bring in another striker. But on the whole, Joe Gubbins, and I know we can be labelled for the mistake that led to the goal, but Joe's come on leaps and bounds the last month. Louis Shipley's starting to come on leaps and bounds as well. So, the lone goalkeepers that we've had has been really good. So, I'm pleased with them. Again, the young, and some of them taking a chance because they're the first loans. And the way they've all rallied round each other, it's brilliant, and it's great to be involved in.
When do you think Josh Andrews might be available for you?
Well, we had a more recent update, and it's not possibly a little bit earlier than what we first imagined, but I can't see him being fit for February. I think March, start of March could be the what we're looking at.
So if you can find a striker from somewhere?
Well, we'll have to try and, we've got 1 or 2 irons in the fire, and hopefully they materialise.
Yeah, how difficult is it?
It's very difficult, but when is it not difficult? So we're going into it from a position that we've been in the past, and everyone's starting to get the same players. So, I don't think money's overly prevalent in the lower regions, and there's maybe 6 or 7 clubs in League 2 that are spending heavy, and then the rest aren't. So maybe more, maybe 8, 9 or 10, but there's certainly a good half who aren't spending a lot of money, and they're the ones who are all shopping trying to get the same player.
If you're in for a loan player, John, and maybe 3 or 4 other clubs are, Does it work a lot in your favour that you have got so many young players here, some on loan, who you are giving regular football to, that managers might look at it and say, well, we might get a bigger percentage from this club. We might, if it's up to the manager, that is. But we'll loan him to Accrington because the likelihood is they need him to play.
Well, they know that they're going to play with us. And if they look at the ones who've come and developed over the time, you know, there's plenty, and if people see how well Brad Hills is doing at the moment, but look at the likes of Dan Barlaser, you know, coming on loan and having a great loan spell, even going back to the early days of Tom Lees. So, you know, there's plenty of players who've come, particularly goalkeepers, who've come, blooded themselves here and then gone, you know, straight into top flight football, like I said, Marek Rodder. So, you know, even if we go back to the two in our conference winning years, the Robbie Elliott and Darren Randolph, you know, players who get an opportunity here and if they flourish, there's a chance they can go on to better things.
Yeah, I'm just talking to your goalkeeper this morning, Joe Walsh. He's been telling us about what Christmas is like as an emergency loan goalkeeper who it gets renewed every week, and that's the sort of level of commitment that you've got here from someone like Joe, who was telling us all about being Christmas Day in his hotel and miles away from home. Yeah,
one of the important things that you do though, when we've been doing it for so long, but you tend to make a big note of the character of the player you sign, and so you do your homework on that. He's a great lad, as of all the lads who've come in. It's been great this season, and you've got to be a special character to play for Accrington, and that's why I've beat this drum for many a year. We might be rich in money, but we're certainly rich in spirit. We've got a cracking set of fans who appreciate that.
Your two emergency loan goalkeepers, you've picked two good ones there, haven't you?
Yeah, and you know, you're getting loads thrown at you, so you've got to do your due diligence. And you know, it's a case of speaking to people who they've worked with, looking at footage of them and trying to get the best that you think can be the best fit for Accrington.
I saw someone interview with Alex Henderson the other night, first career goal. I'm sure you can relate to a young striker who's scoring goals and that feeling of scoring for the very first time in senior football. What went through your mind watching it?
Brilliant. I wouldn't class him as a striker, man. More of an attacking midfielder. Great. He's got the world at his feet, Endo. The only thing that he can only improve on one thing for me, and that's his hairstyle. You know, his headband is it's quite funny, actually, his headband. I'm sure they'll get rid of that soon.
Has he done enough to force his way into very much your thinking for starting 11?
Oh, without a doubt. You know, he's the times that he was coming on, he showed he could handle it really well. And so, no, he's a serious member of our squad now.
And when you need these lads, this season is going to do so much good for so many of them, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think the one who's done the best out of all this is Josh Woods, because you know we knew Josh had ability, and he could come on, and he could influence a game, but there were certain things missing in his game that made you think he couldn't really start a lot of games, and that's changed. He's grown into this role because he's had to. So, and he's a really good player now at this level, and he's shown teams what he can do. Me being a striker myself, I just wish he could get them goals that he's threatening to, and I'm sure they'll come if he keeps on working the way he does. He's got a tremendous character about him, and he's starting to show now that he belongs in League Two, which is great.
Is it like the pennies dropped, so to speak?
I think so, and I think, you know, the players appreciate that. You know, the players will tell you a little bit more about, because they're playing with him, so they're in the trenches with him, and so the other players recognise how well he does for the team, and I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted that he's grabbed this opportunity.
What's your experience telling you, John, about how the second half might pan out of this season for you? Are you really optimistic that these lads are just going to get better and better and can get more consistent as it goes along?
Well, you can't get carried away, can you? You know, a lot of teams have experienced peaks and troughs, us being one of them, to be honest. And I keep going back, and I think that the watershed moment for us was the Swindon game. Going 4 down and coming back the way we did. And I know we lost the game, but sometimes you lose a game like that and it doesn't feel like a loss. And it reinvigorates the team, and I think that was the case. And I think since then there's been a belief in the team. There's been an urgency and an overall improvement in everything that we do. Our running stats have improved, our passing stats have improved, our controls improved. So everything's going in the right direction now. Other teams will be thinking that they can go in the right direction as well, so there's no giving on that. Our first port of call is getting enough points to stay up. You know, it would be disastrous for us to go bang bang and go down twice. And that was always been the mission in our eyes from the last kick of the ball last season. That we had to stay up this season, and that's been our focus. And we've still got to get them points on the board, and it's not going to be easy to get them points on the board, but we're going to work our socks off to try and do that, and then look at maybe having a tilt at the playoffs, or you never know.
And that's not you, is it? Over the years to have that philosophy that we have to make sure first and foremost.
Yeah, but what you've got to look at history and look at how many teams have done that, have gone through the top tour. And it's all right, all well and good saying, oh, it won't happen to us, it won't happen to us. You can't bury your head in the sand. The harsh reality is it can happen to you. And it's going to happen to someone this season. Two teams are going to go out to Football League this season. So you've got to be a realist, and you've got to work as hard as you can to get your team as organised as they can to play the football that you believe will deliver results. Now, every manager is the same. Every manager believes they're going to win games. So, normally, you know, if we'd have been able to bring 3 or 4 established players, then you're thinking, yeah, we can have a goal going automatic. We're in the situation we are because we are, and so there's no point moaning about it. You know, we're responsible for the players who've been at this club. I'm responsible for that. I'm responsible for players moving on. And I'm responsible to try and use the finance that admittedly isn't great compared to other teams, but it's what we've got. We've always said, and I think Andy Holt's done brilliantly in stabilising the club first and foremost when he came in. And then, you know, we've got ourselves into a situation where we're never going to go down the road of 62. We don't want to be that club. And so we've got to cut our cloth accordingly. Now that's meant that I couldn't sign established players this summer, and that's nobody's fault. Well, I think it's my fault. So, you know what? I've got to deal with what I've got, and then try and supplement when I can with what I can. And I've been quite pleased with the supplements I've brought in.
How much will the form right here at this ground determine where you finish up?
You know, it wasn't as good as what it should be last year. I think our fans are brilliant. I think we have this special buzz when we're kicking into the Clayton end as well. I think we're getting to know the pitch. Pitch is cracking condition, but it's different from what it has been. And I think we're getting to know that now. We're playing some good football. And to answer your question, yeah, it's going to be vital. It's going to be vital that we get the points on board at home. But any game we play now, believe me, them players, they're not fearing anybody. You know, we've played a top Bolton side there who are probably going to be a championship club next year. You see now, there was no fear with them. You know, the way we took the game to them in the first half, particularly. And so we're not going to fear anybody. That's not saying we're going to beat everybody that we play. But we're going into every game believing that we've got a chance to win. And we're going to try and win. And so, particularly when you play at home, you hope that home advantage tips you over the edge. But we're taking nothing for granted. We don't disrespect any team that we play. Likewise, we don't pander to the top teams and say, oh, they're going to be too good for us. And so every time we play, we know on our merit and on our day we can be as good as anybody, but it's got to be on our day. Our day's got to be nearly every week. and we haven't got the luxury of being able to change 3 or 4 players, like 3 or 4 established players, and bring them on to change if it's not going well, or to rotate. Like the top, well, the likes of your Wrexhams and your Notts Counties to a certain extent, your Mansfields, you know, they can do that. We can't, but we're happy with what we're doing. And also, if we look back at last time we were in this league and when we won it, we barely rotated because we didn't have to. So, you know, there's a school of thought for both ways there, really. I'd like to eliminate the injuries. I don't think that's going to be I don't think I've got the magic wand to do that. If we get a little bit of luck along the way, who knows where it can take us.
What are Gillingham about?
Well, they had a great start. They're another one, peaks and troughs. We know that they're a handful on the day. They've had many a good result this season. And they're going to be difficult for us. We know this, the start of play, the lads will be sitting there now watching a video of how they play. They know anyway. And our focus will be now on trying to come up with ways to diffuse their threat and ways to maybe exploit their weaknesses.
I think it's the first go for Stephen Clement as a number 1, but he's got bags of experience, hasn't he, working for some really experienced managers?
Yeah, and you'd like to think a lot of that will have rubbed off. I mean, a lot is made about the managers, but tomorrow it'll be about 11v11 on the pitch, won't it? And you've just got to try and get them as organised and as up for it as possible. And when you get that, then if you do everything to the best of your ability and you see your team giving it their all, how can you complain? You can't. So, well, I don't think you should anyway. So if we get our team playing the way we want to play and giving everything that they've got, we can accept whatever the result is.
And where does Stephen's late dad Ray rate in the John Coleman Liverpool legends list?
Yeah, watching him over the years as a kid growing up and seeing some of the unbelievable saves he made, and playing in such a successful Liverpool team. We were only talking about the Liverpool teams of yesteryear the other day. He's up there, and the disappointing thing for him was that he was born in the same era as Peter Shilton. Otherwise, he'd have had probably treble the caps he had now. He finished up with, sorry. So that was a blow for him. And I personally thought he should have played for England more, but I'm biased.